Ghost towns get the attention. But across America, there are places far worse. Towns where the post office still opens, the lights still come on, and someone still pays the tax. In one Nebraska town, that someone is one woman, collecting $2,000 from herself. These are not ghost towns. They are something worse. And the question nobody is asking is what killed them while the lights were still on. Terlingua, Texas began as a promise in the desert. Founded in 1903, built on the red dust of cinnabar and the hunger for quicksilver. The Chisos Mining Company carved a settlement out of emptiness, drawing hundreds with the lure of steady pay and a future. For decades, mercury flowed from the earth and out to the world, peaking during the wars when demand soared. At its height, Terlingua was more than a dot on the map. A schoolhouse rang with voices, a commissary stocked shelves, the Starlight Theater flickered with weekend light. The town felt permanent, anchored by the mine's relentless rhythm. But permanence was an illusion. In 1946, a sudden flood of groundwater filled the mine shafts, rendering them useless. The Chisos Mining Company abandoned operations almost overnight, leaving behind only the skeleton of industry and the echo of machinery. There was no dramatic exodus, no single moment when the town died. Instead, Terlingua began to bleed, slowly, painfully, invisibly. The payroll vanished, stores closed, the school emptied, families drifted away, some to Marfa, others across the border. By the time census takers returned, the population had fallen by nearly 70%. The median age now sits at 61.1, a number that speaks of those who stayed behind, growing older in a place where renewal never came. Yet the lights never truly went out. The post office still accepts mail, the roads still wind through the Chisos Mountains, and a handful of residents endure. But the heart of the town, the sense of belonging, the fabric of daily life, has unraveled. Terlingua shows what happens when a town's only purpose is stripped away. The buildings may stand, but the community that built them is gone. What's left is not a ghost town, not exactly. It's something lonelier, a place where the past is visible in every boarded window, and the future is a question nobody can answer. A river swells overnight in Hanksville, Utah. Rain falls upstream, unseen, but by morning, the San Rafael has swallowed the only road out. The town's emergency manager orders a full evacuation for 150 people, ranchers and motel clerks, families with nowhere else to go. For 36 hours, the highway is underwater. The gas station goes dark. Deliveries stop. Those who stay behind count canned food and watch the water rise, cut off from the rest of Utah by a single flooded stretch of asphalt. The flood recedes, but the memory lingers. In Hanksville, a short storm can mean days with no way in or out, and no guarantee of help if things turn worse. In Eureka, Nevada, the threat comes from fire. In August 2021, the Cedar Fire races toward the edge of town, smoke blotting out the sky. The only highway, State Route 3, closes under a hail of embers and falling debris. 400 residents wait, some packed to leave, others refusing to abandon homes built by their grandparents. For 48 hours, Eureka is an island. Ambulances cannot pass. The grocery shelves empty. Emergency managers, their voices steady but tired, relay updates over battery-powered radios. When the fire moves on and the road reopens, nothing looks the same. The isolation lingers, even after the flames die back. Both towns rely on a single route to the outside world. When that thread snaps, A brief emergency becomes a prolonged ordeal. Supplies vanish, medical care becomes a rumor, and the smallest disruption can tip daily life into crisis. In places like Hanksville and Eureka, the landscape itself turns every hazard into a test of endurance. The lights may stay on, but the sense of connection, the feeling that help will come, fades with every hour of isolation. A school bell echoes through empty halls in Valentine, Nebraska. Where there were once 342 students in the year 2000, there are now just 189. The classrooms have grown quiet. The trophy cases gather dust. Each year, the graduating class shrinks, and each spring, more seniors walk the stage knowing they will not return. In 2003, 26 students finished high school together. By the time 20 years had passed, only 6 still lived in the county. The rest scattered to Omaha, Lincoln, or out of state, drawn by colleges, jobs, or simply the hope of something more. Those who stayed work as teachers, nurses, or in city government, holding together what remains of the town's public life. The numbers are stark, but the loss is measured in more than statistics. With every student who leaves, a piece of the town's future leaves with them. The school board, facing dwindling enrollment, has consolidated grades and cut programs. The band no longer marches in the homecoming parade. The debate team disbanded for lack of members. Each closure is a small funeral for a tradition, a memory, a reason to gather. The median household income in Valentine now stands at $41,600, well below the state average. The jobs that remain are mostly in agriculture, retail, or seasonal tourism. For the young, the choice is stark: stay and accept a narrow horizon, or leave and risk never coming back. The result is a slow unraveling, not dramatic, but relentless. A town that looks alive from the outside, but inside feels hollowed out by absence. The cost of this drain is not only economic, but emotional, a sense of belonging that grows thinner with each empty seat, each faded yearbook photo, each unanswered letter home. A concrete tower rises from the edge of Prince William Sound, its windows flickering with the blue glow of television sets. This is Begich Towers, a 14-story slab built as a military barracks, and now home to nearly every soul in Whittier, Alaska. The school, the post office, the city offices, and the only grocery store all exist under this single roof. Beyond the walls, there is only tundra, sea, and the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, a 2.5-mile passage blasted through the mountain, the town's lone artery to the outside world. When the tunnel closes, Whittier ceases to be a port and becomes a sealed container. In January 2021, a maintenance failure shut the tunnel for 48 hours. Deliveries halted, fresh food dwindled. The clinic, already limited to basic care, could not transfer a patient to Anchorage. Helicopters circled above, waiting for weather to break, while residents watched the clock and counted supplies. The sense of being cut off is not theoretical here. It is the daily risk that comes with living at the end of a tunnel, knowing that a single malfunction or storm can trap a whole community in concrete silence. Inside Begich Towers, life continues. Children ride the elevator to class. Neighbors pass in the fluorescent-lit halls, but every routine is shadowed by the knowledge that escape is never guaranteed. The fragility of Whittier is not hidden. It is built into the walls, the schedules, the waiting. A single name appears on the 2020 census for Monowi, Nebraska: Elsie Eiler. She is the mayor, the librarian, and the bartender. Each year, she fills out the paperwork to keep Monowi incorporated, signing both as applicant and as approving official. The town's property tax, just over $2,000, is collected from her own land and paid back into the town's account. A quiet ritual that keeps Monowi on the map. Elsie unlocks the door to the Monowi tavern each morning, turns on the lights, and waits for the rare traveler to stop in. She issues the town's only business license to herself. The post office, once a gathering place, now sorts an average of a dozen letters a week. The library, built in memory of her late husband, stands open to anyone who wanders by, though most days it is silent. With every form filed and every beer poured, Elsie maintains the machinery of a town that exists in name, habit, and memory. There are no council meetings, no neighbors to check in on, no parades or school bells. What remains is one woman's refusal to let her community's story close, even as the world around her recedes. Monowi is not abandoned. It is held together by a single thread, a daily act of endurance that is equal parts duty and grief. Supai, Arizona, sits at the bottom of a canyon, 8 miles from the nearest road. There are no cars here, only footpaths, mules, and the steady thump of helicopter blades overhead. The Havasupai people have lived in this place for centuries, shaping their days around the blue-green waters and the red walls that rise on every side. Access is hard by design. Every visitor walks or rides in. The tribal council sets a strict cap. No more than 2,000 outsiders may enter on any given day. This rule is not just about protecting the land. It is about protecting the community itself. Unlike the towns where youth vanish and the future grows dim, Supai's median age is 32. Children play in the shade of cottonwoods. Families gather for the annual harvest and for ceremonies that root each generation in memory. The council reinvests tourism income into solar panels and a new water system, so the village can endure the heat and the floods that come with each season. Every choice here is about survival, but not just of the body, of language, of story, of a sense of belonging that does not depend on a single industry or the promise of outside rescue. Supai endures because its people refuse to let the thread of identity break, even at the farthest edge of the map. Today, these towns endure not because of what they produce, but because memory, identity, and the stubborn will to remain outlast emptiness. True survival demands more than open doors. It demands roots, renewal, and meaning. The slowest death is forgetting who you are. What would keep your town alive?